Good day, everyone. I am Arlene Castañeda. So, my group mates already discussed and compared the four countries. So now I'm going to discuss the similarities and the differences of the four countries. So let's start with their similarities. And first, similarities of the four countries is the identity through language. So one similarity among the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia is that they all use language to strengthen national identity. Although each country has different language policies, they all believe that um, the language reflects the history, culture, tradition, and values of a country. Like, for example, the Philippines, so the Philippines, the Filipino language is promotes as the national language, while in Singapore, they requires their student to study their mother tongue language. In Thailand, they emphasize standard Thai. And lastly, in Indonesia, they use their language, Bahasa Indonesia, to unite its many ethnic groups. So this can be explained through Spolsky's language policy framework in 2004, which Spolsky states that language policy is not all about deciding which language to teach, but also about preserving a country's identity, culture, and social unity. This is why each country develops policies that reflects its own national values. So now let's have the second similarities of the four countries, and this is global competitiveness. So another similarity is that all four countries aim to prepare learners for global communication. While they promote their national languages, they also recognize the importance of language of English. They recognize the importance of learning the English or another international language for higher education, employment, business, and international cooperation. So in the Philippines and Singapore, they use English more extensively in education, while in Thailand and in Indonesia, they teach English as a foreign language alongside their national languages. So this is supported by Kuhlman's interdependence theory in 2000, which explains that having a strong foundation in one first language helps a learner acquire second language more effectively. It is also supported by the UNESCO in 2003, which emphasizes that multilingual education develops both academic achievement and communication skills needed in today's globalized world. So last similarities of the four countries is cultural preservation. So the four countries also share the goal of preserving their cultural heritage through language education. They recognize that language carries traditions, beliefs, literature, and indigenous knowledge from one generation to another. Although their approaches differ, each country supports regional of minority languages. In the Philippines, they allows regional languages as auxiliary languages, while in Singapore, preserves ethnic languages through compulsory mother tongue education. And in Thailand, they provide multilingual program in selected communities, and in Indonesia, they promote local languages through the Muatan local curriculum. So this reflects Hornberger's continua of biliteracy framework in 2003, which explains that multilingual education should develop literacy while preserving learners' cultural identity. So the framework encourages schools to value both national and local languages instead of replacing one with another. So now we're done with their similarities. So now let's have their differences. So let's start with their language policies. Although all All four countries aim to improve language education. They differ in the languages they prioritize. Because in the Philippines, uses Filipino and language as its primary languages of instruction, while in Singapore, they also uses English as the main medium of instruction, but requires every student to study their mother tongue language. So, in contrast, Thailand prioritize, prioritizes standard Thai, while Indonesia uses their language Bahasa Indonesia as its primary language of instruction. According to Spolsky in 2004, these differences exist because language policies are shaped by each country's history, culture, 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 political goals, and educational priorities. Therefore, there is no single language policy that fits every country. So, second differences of the countries is the mother tongue education. So the countries also differ in how they implement their mother tongue education, because in Singapore, their mother tongue education makes compulsory. In the Philippines now mainly uses Filipino and English, while allowing regional languages as auxiliary languages. Because in Thailand, they uses minority languages only in selected multilingual programs, while in Indonesia, they uses local languages mainly in early education and through the Motan local curriculum. So these differences is supported by the UNESCO in 2003, which recommends that children begin learning in their first language because it improves comprehension and academic performance. At the same time, Hornberger in 2003 also explains that multilingual education should be flexible enough to suit each country's linguistic and cultural context. So, lastly, they also differ in history. So the countries differ because of their historical background. So the Philippines, Singapore, and Indonesia experienced colonization, which influenced the continued use of English and other colonial languages in education, while Thailand, however, was never formally colonized, so it developed its own education system using a standard Thai as the primary language of instruction. This res- this reflects Spolky's language policy framework in 2004, which explains that language policies are influenced by a country's historical experiences, political developments, and social conditions. So these historical factors continue to shape language use in educational today. And I hope that you learned and you understand the similarities and differences of the four countries. And that would be all. Thank you so much.